Let us begin in prayer. O God, source of all that is and that shall be, may the hallowing of your name echo throughout the universe. May the way of your justice be followed by all people. May your commonwealth of peace and freedom sustain our hope on earth and the hope for all people. As we begin in your name, you who created us, you who redeem us, you who sustain us. Amen.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Barbara Farley. I serve as the Vice President of Academic Affairs and Dean of the College. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this commencement ceremony in Augsburg's 142nd year. To all the parents, spouses, partners, guardians, children, and friends, I extend a special welcome. Thanks to Dr. Peter Hendrickson, Associate Professor of Music and Class of 1976, and Augsburg students for providing the processional music, and to Pastor Dave Wold for today's invocation. In 2009, Augsburg College initiated its first doctoral program, the Doctor of Nursing Practice. This program prepares nurses for advanced transcultural nursing in community life by integrating holistic practice across care settings. In today's ceremony, we congratulate this inaugural class of 8 students and their faculty led by Dr. Cheryl Looning, Chair of the Department of Nursing and Director of the Graduate Nursing Programs. We will also celebrate the accomplishments of 241 students in the Master of Arts in Education, Master of Business Administration, Master of Arts in Leadership, Master of Arts in Nursing, and the Master of Social Work programs. And 232 students in the undergraduate, weekend college, and evening programs. These students have attended classes on our main campus in Minneapolis and at Thrivent Financial's corporate headquarters, in Rochester at Bethel Lutheran Church, in Bloomington at St. Stephen Lutheran Church, at Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, and at a variety of locations around the world, including Augsburg's Center for Global Education sites. The theme for this year's commencement ceremony celebrates responsible leadership in a global society and highlights Augsburg's commitment to educating students to be responsible leaders, as well as informed citizens, thoughtful stewards, and critical thinkers. Today's commencement speaker, honorary degree recipient, and the representative of the class of 2011 will echo this theme in their messages. It is now my great pleasure to introduce President Paul C. Pribenow. Dr. Pribenow is a champion of the institution's calling to serve our neighbors. He is passionate about Augsburg's legacy of building strong relationships with the neighborhoods we serve in this region and around the world. The college's commitment to civic engagement was recognized at the highest level earlier this month when Augsburg received an award for community service from President Obama, an award given to only 6 colleges and universities in the nation. Thank you. This award reflects the work of thousands of faculty, students, and staff at Augsburg, and President Pribenow's highest personal and professional values. Please welcome President Paul Pribenow.
Thank you, Dean Farley. I would like to add my warm welcome to all of you gathered here today on this proud occasion. It's one of the great joys of my role as president to participate in the various moments in the life of the college wherein we honor and celebrate the accomplishments of our students. You are, of course, the reason we have existed for 142 years. We are proud of all of you and very pleased that so many of your family and friends are with us this morning. The Richard J. Tony Award is given to a member of the graduating class whose actions, commitments, and future aspirations most profoundly represent the commitment to community, hospitality, and innovations that are the hallmarks of Rick Tony, who was the founding director of the Weekend College and Rochester campus programs. The inaugural presentation of this award was made 4 years ago on the occasion of Rick's retirement following a distinguished 37-year career at Augsburg. It is my pleasure to present the Richard J. Tony Award, and I ask this year's recipient, Jennifer Weber, to step forward as I read about her accomplishments. Jennifer graduates today with an extraordinary accomplishment, a triple major in American Indian Studies, Special Education Learning Disabilities, and Special Education Emotional Behavioral Disabilities. However, it is the richness of Jennifer's life as a student in the Augsburg for Adults program and as a designated or dedicated member of her own communities that we so honor her today with the Richard J. Tony Award. Jennifer has immersed herself in her coursework, relationships with colleagues, as well as broader college communities. A member of both the Weekend College Senate and the Augsburg Indigenous Student Association, also known as ISA, she has been actively involved in governance, recruitment, and event organization efforts. Jennifer's energy and devotion to academic and personal communities is evidenced in her drive to make a change. She has spearheaded several initiatives through ISA, perhaps most notably Augsburg's annual powwow, bringing together hundreds of community members and dozens of local businesses. Education is a major focus in Jennifer's life. She is tireless in her work at the Cedar Riverside Community School right here in our neighborhood, where she is committed to helping her students envision themselves as college students. A mother and a grandmother, Jennifer continuously looks for opportunities to educate within her community. To raise awareness of water pollutants across the country, she has worked with the indigenous communities to bring the Mother Earth Water Walk to campus through Facebook, tabling in the Christensen Center, and speaking to individuals and groups. One nominator said of Jennifer, "I think that Jennifer is called to create community with others in the various communities that she calls home. Her work in this area has been astounding. Her leadership with both Weekend College Senate and ISA speaks to her ability to guide students toward greater understanding of one another and deeper engagement with the college. We thank you for what you have created at Augsburg, Jennifer, and we wish you all of life's blessings. Please join me in honoring Jennifer Weber as the 2011 Richard J. Tony Award recipient."
Mr. President, I am pleased to introduce Dr. Diane Pike, Professor of Sociology, who present the candidate for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Professor Edmund Sil-Tong Kwok has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Regents.
Professor Kwok, your deep commitment to the liberal arts, your profound sense of service, and your exceptional aptitude for leadership have led you to an extraordinary career in higher education. You have dedicated your life to the pursuit of knowledge and innovation. During your distinguished 27-year career at Chinese University in Hong Kong, you served students and colleagues through your expertise and passion for learning. You developed a keen eye for fostering unique educational opportunities and revealed yourself to be a thoughtful and eloquent leader. In 2005, you turned your considerable skills to the creation of an innovative university that would be the first full-scale cooperation in higher education between mainland China and Hong Kong. As the Executive Vice President of United International College in Zhuhai, China, you expanded the internationalization of Chinese higher education. You promoted the liberal arts in China by emphasizing growth in all areas of students' lives through whole-person education. This undertaking was informed by your understanding of both classical Chinese and Western cultural traditions, as well as by your commitment to progressive educational models. You provided exemplary leadership in the planning and development of the university. By 2011, your impressive work had resulted in the enrollment of more than 4,000 students and in the realization of a spectacular physical campus that will remain one of your great legacies. This vision for creating an internationalized campus brought you to Minnesota to forge alliances with leaders of 7 private colleges and universities who share your outlook for higher education. The institutions that constitute the China Consortium of the Minnesota Private College Council have been privileged to work closely with you. Faculty, students, and staff continue to be greatly enriched by pursuing educational experiences on each other's campuses. Professor Kwok, your remarkable accomplishments have been gifts in both China and the United States. As a result of your outstanding talents and notable successes, you have earned a prominent place among the world's educational leaders. Mr. President, it is my pleasure to present Professor Edmund Sil Tong Kwok as a candidate for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Professor Kwok, as we celebrate Augsburg's abiding commitment to responsible global leadership, we honor you for your visionary leadership in the Academy. You inspire us with your pioneering determination to expand the paths of education open to Chinese students in the 21st century. You are a brilliant leader and true friend to Minnesota's private colleges and universities. By the authority granted to me by the Board of Regents of Augsburg College, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa and express my gratitude for your wholehearted embrace of the promise of a global liberal arts education. Congratulations.
President Rabinow, dear fellow students, staff, parents, and friends, this is a special day, a day of special significance. As a humble student now entering Augsburg, I received the first lesson in this morning's baccalaureate sermon by the President. I'm humbled, and in fact, on behalf of the college and behalf of China, we are humbled. For Augsburg's extension of radical hospitality to this small college that we set up 6 years ago in China. To have received from Augsburg and the Minnesota Private College Council support to bring in liberal education into China. This is the cup of cold water that the President referred to, that Jesus wants to spread to the rest of the world outside of Israel. This is the cup of cold water of liberal arts education, a kind of new values for China that China needs. The Chinese students are eager to develop themselves in a holistic manner, to be able to learn to respect themselves, to respect each other, and to serve their neighbors. The college advocated and has been advocating servant leadership. And this is the core value 6 years ago when set up this path to bring liberal education to China. Something that China has forgotten and something China will be receiving this cold cup of water from Minnesota, from Augsburg. Now I'm a graduate of Augsburg. I will do my best to serve the college and to serve all of you. Thank you.
It is now my great privilege to welcome and to introduce our commencement speaker, Ms. Krista Tippett. Krista Tippett is the creator and host of Being, a widely acclaimed program on National Public Radio that explores how perspectives of faith can illuminate important issues of American and global life. Ms. Tippett's fascinating work addresses a gap in the public dialogue around faith as an intellectual concept, as a spiritual force, and as a way of life. Through her boundless curiosity and gracious presence, she has shown the world that open minds and open hearts are the best complements to faith, and that wisdom is found where deep belief and eager inquiry meet. Ms. Tippett, we share your dedication to this important dialogue. The search for truth at the intersection of faith and learning is at the heart of Augsburg's mission, and we are honored to have you with us today for this grand celebration. Please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker, Krista Tippett.
This is a fantastic place, and I am so honored to be with you on this day, which is a day of great accomplishment and life passage. I feel especially at home because I know that many of you also had some life experience under your belt before you moved on to this degree. And I was happy to see someone walk through the procession with her daughter. I also carried my daughter, who was 8 months old, when I got my master's degree, and I always said I didn't graduate cum laude, but I did graduate cum baby, and surely that's worth a lot. That was an accomplishment. I don't have to tell you that the world you are now re-entering with this great new credential is in its own moment of transformation and passage. We talk a lot in some ways that are helpful, some ways that are unhelpful, about our current economic moment or our current political moment. But my conversations of this past decade have led me to take very seriously the fact that we are on a much grander scale, turn-of-century people, in a moment of historic transformation. We are revisiting basic definitions of life and death, marriage and family, of human relationship, of the meaning of things like leadership, and even something like truth. And between these kinds of deliberations and the dizzying pace at which technology is developing, we are going to be restructuring our workplaces and all of our disciplines, all of our institutions in the years to come. I know that you did not ask to be finding your calling at a challenging historic moment like this. So for the next few minutes, I also want to stress the upside that I see in that. One of the great advances of our time is a fuller understanding of the complexity of what it means to be human. That we are intellectual and physical and emotional and also spiritual creatures, though we define that and live that in a multitude of ways. From education to medicine to business to social services, there are exciting new openings, new opportunities to create life-giving rather than soul-stealing approaches and cultures. We long to connect the dots of our lives, inner and outer, to integrate our pursuit of meaning, our desire for meaning, with the way we spend our days. So I want to come at the theme of leadership at a little bit of an angle this morning by offering you a phrase I love of Albert Einstein, who said that there is such a thing as spiritual genius. He looked around his field of science in the early 20th century and was deeply dismayed as he saw that chemists and physicists had become the purveyors of weapons of mass destruction. And he said, science in this generation has become like a razor blade in the hands of a 3-year-old. By contrast, he looked at his contemporary Gandhi, who he deeply admired, his philosophy of nonviolence. And he said that people like Gandhi and Moses and Jesus and Buddha, he also really liked St. Francis of Assisi. He said these people are geniuses in the art of living. I'm here to encourage you to pursue the art of living, spiritual genius, wisdom into this new stage of your life alongside the other fruits of this education you've received here. I hope you'll continue drawing connections that I know Augsburg has helped you draw between things like citizenship, faith, leadership, and meaningful work. And I'd like to embolden you with some of the surprising things I've learned, a few of them, in my own life and from my wise conversation partners of recent years. First, failure and imperfection are the very element of human vitality and wisdom. None of those historic spiritual geniuses who I just named, or any of the people who've lived more recently who come readily to mind, not a Gandhi, not a Martin Luther King Jr., not a Mother Teresa, none of these were perfect people. They weren't heroes in a storybook way. And neither are any of the wisest people you have known personally up close. What a relief. Scientists, again, and artists, as much as theologians and spiritual activists have taught me about the inevitability of failure, the necessity of improvisation. Parenting teaches me this. My professional trajectory has taught me this. What throws us for a loop often points us towards places we need to go, towards ways it is good for us to change and correct course and grow. Now, of course, there's a dark side to that. We are also repeatedly pointed down hard roads, scary roads, that we have no choice but to walk. And the challenge is always to walk them with whatever courage and grace we can muster. I recently had a beautiful conversation with the vocal artist and conductor Bobby McFerrin. That experience of interviewing him was kind of like an out-of-body experience. And he talked about relaxing into what wasn't supposed to happen, which he says happens every single concert he's ever given in his life. Relaxing into what wasn't supposed to happen is, in fact, what always allows us to be and not to be performing. And isn't that the work of life, of growing up, of living comfortably in our own skin and being present to others in their skin? A paradoxical insistence on strength and weakness is at the core of the Christian Lutheran message that underpins this institution. But this kind of message is so countercultural that it's hard for us to take in as 21st century people. And still, my wisest conversation partners bear out the deepest sense of this. They teach me that how we carry what has gone wrong for us, as much as what we know to be our strength and our power, is essential to being at home in ourselves and to being meaningfully present to the world and to others in all their flaws and failings. Second, the art of living, like every art and every skill, is also a matter of practice. Now, I had on my program this morning, which is just now airing on Minnesota Public Radio, or maybe ending, so you weren't listening, and I absolve you of that. So I'm going to give you the personal kind of Cliff Notes version of what happened. I had a neurologist on named Richard Davidson, who, starting out by studying the brains of meditating monks, is now taking radical new insights to work with children with ADHD and autism, and also just to teaching kindness and self-control to children and adolescents. What he learned, and what other neuroscientists are learning, is that contrary to what we used to believe, that our brains stop forming at some finite point in adolescence or young adulthood, our brains are plastic. And they keep changing across our lifespan, and the choice we have is what influences we want to impose on that change. That our behaviors can change our physiology and even maybe our genetics. This is fascinating. This is one of our great 21st century frontiers. So here's one of the conclusions Richard Davidson shares with me, and I'll share with you. When it comes to training our minds and personalities and spirits to move through the world differently, we also have to apply the same kind of logic we apply to learning a sport, or learning to be better at math, or playing the piano. We have to practice. At the orthodox core of our great traditions, beliefs, arguments, and positions are all underpinned by habits, practices, virtues, like practical love, compassionate attention, care for the weak and the stranger. Virtues, practices are at the heart of spiritual genius. Virtues I like to think of as spiritual technologies. They're kind of apps for the vagaries of flesh and blood, time and space. Virtue is not as big a part of our cultural vocabulary as I think it should be, and part of the way I understand that is that a lot of the great virtues as words have simply been watered down. Some of them have been politicized. Words like compassion, forgiveness, peace and justice, love. There's one that's pretty much been ruined for us. It's something you fall into. So I'd like to leave you by naming a few concrete virtues, again, that have surprised me, that point at those classic spiritual ideals and also give us some fresh and compelling ways into them, wherever we are, whatever we do. One would be cultivating an attention to beauty in the ordinary and everyday. I hear about beauty all the time from all kinds of my conversation partners. From my Muslim conversation partners, I have been given the gift of thinking about beauty as a core moral value, a kind of litmus test for whether something is of God. Is it beautiful or is it ugly? I've heard from mathematicians and physicists, some of whom are not at all religious, that if an equation is not beautiful and elegant, it is probably not true. The Irish poet and philosopher John O'Donohue, who I interviewed shortly before his very early sudden death, made an important distinction that we have to make in our minds to wrap our minds around this, I think, between glamour and beauty, right? Because when we say beauty, we go to all kinds of places that are not what I'm talking about. So I'm not talking about glamour, and here's how John O'Donohue defined that, and I think this is helpful in living into beauty. Beauty is that which, in the presence of which, we feel more alive. I've also come to know a sense of humor as a deep virtue. Humor and ability to laugh, including at oneself, is a common denominator of spiritual genius. I have not met a genuinely, clearly wise person who doesn't have a sense of humor. A lot of them will also tell you that their image of God includes a sense of humor, and Desmond Tutu is the person who comes to mind, who simply not only will say that about God, but absolutely embodies that, walks through the world with that virtue alongside his capacity to take on some of the hardest work of the last century. Finally, I'm more and more passionate about the virtue of asking good questions. This is one our public life really needs. The good education you have gained in this place has equipped you to ask searching questions. And I say to you, take that skill in the life you're going into now, and take it as a sacred trust. A too simple question yields a too simple answer. An angry question yields an angry answer. And if you don't believe me, just think about probably the last news show you watched on television. But I can state that more positively. I know that there is something redemptive and life-giving about asking a better question. It draws something better from those with whom we're speaking. It makes bigger, more creative, more transformative answers possible. In my work at the very beginning, I was deeply formed by words of the poet Rainer Maria Rilke. He wrote these at the beginning of the last century, which was also a time of great tumult and transformation. And he said, "Love the questions themselves, as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers which could not be given to you now, because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything, live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer." Loving questions, holding questions, is a spiritual virtue for our time. As I said before, our age is raising conundrums and confusions that may not be resolved or answered in a way we can all agree on in our lifetime. But surely we can agree that we want as much as possible to live into the answers together. The art of living is as simple and as exacting as this. We can practice mining whatever grace and beauty, whatever healing and attentiveness and excellence are possible in this moment and the next one after that. Which is one way to say what I've been circling around all along. Spiritual wisdom is reality-based. It can and must be pursued with the certainly imperfect, often perplexing raw materials of each and every one of our lives. And if you pursue these things in yourself, you will move through the world differently. You will become more necessary, in Einstein's words, to the dignity, security, and joy of others and the ongoing transformation of your chosen professions. I want to offer you my warmest, deepest congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Tippett, for your brilliant and inspiring message. Thank you so much for being here today. Augsburg's Jazz Instrumental Vocal Ensemble, under the direction of Dr. Robert Stack, Chair of the Department of Music, will now perform 100 Years by Five for Fighting.
I'm 15 for a moment, caught in between 10 and 20, and I'm just dreaming, chasing the years to where you are. I'm 22 for a moment, and he feels better than ever, and we're on fire, making our way back back from Mars. 15, there's still time for you. Time to buy, time to lose. 15, there's never a wish better than this. When you've only got 100 years to live. Suddenly you're wise, another blink of an eye, and 67 is gone. The sun is getting high, yeah, we're moving on. I'm 99 for a moment. I'm dying for just another moment, and I'm just dreaming, counting the ways to where you are. 15, there's still time for you. 22, I feel him too. 33, you're on your way. Every day's a new day, to live.
I am very pleased to introduce Cindy Castro, a student in the Augsburg for Adults program who is representing this year's graduates. Cindy is a communication studies major and a psychology minor. During her time at Augsburg, Cindy has been a recipient of both the Ole K. and Evelyn L. Olson Scholarship and the Reader's Digest Scholarship. While completing her undergraduate degree, she has held positions in healthcare services and in local government, and she is an active member of her church community. Please welcome Cindy Castro as representative of the class of 2011.
Boy, that's a long walk. Thank you, Dean Farley, for that gracious introduction. President Pribanow, Dean Farley, Dr. Kwok, Augsburg Board of Regents, distinguished faculty and staff, honored family and friends, and fellow graduates, welcome to our celebration. Imagine yourself in this situation for a moment, if you will. It is your last day of class, your paper is done, your project is turned in, and your take-home test is done. 4 hours to go, and you are home free. The professor walks in briskly, doesn't even greet the class, immediately tells everyone to put their books and papers away, and hands out a test. She states, "This is a comprehensive final, and it covers all the material presented for the term. If you have done your assignments, you will do well on this test. It is timed, and it will count for 75% of your final grade." You look up in disbelief. You sense a little tension in the room, but no one else seems shocked. You are trying to calculate the information in your head. You cannot recall this test on the syllabus. Panic starts to set in, and you begin to sweat. You stare at the test blankly, wondering why you cannot answer anything. You read the material. You start to raise your hand, and then you stop. You don't want to look foolish. Up until today, you've had 100% in the class. Well, not now. 75% of your grade? Now what will you do? Well, that was the situation I was faced with last Saturday morning on my last day of class. Fear, anxiety, and doubt. I was drowning in all of those feelings. Dr. Kagan taught her students a very important lesson that morning. Be prepared to lead. In the end, the test was a fake, as we all watched the professor tear up the tests after she collected them. It turns out she had been making a point about our lack of willingness to challenge authority. But what she did that morning was an amazing learning experience, and it gave me a good story to tell you today. Many of the graduates here this morning probably have similar stories to tell from both our personal and professional lives about those moments when we didn't think we were prepared for what happens next. In some cases, that means making difficult choices. Whether you're receiving your doctorate, master's, or undergraduate degree, we have all made sacrifices to be here today. We have spent years giving up our evenings and weekends, missing time with our children, family, and friends, while we desperately try to find that one moment in the day that we can call our own. Yet here we sit today as graduates. What qualities have led us here? Let me suggest that inspiration, motivation, and perseverance are those things that have gotten us to this point and form part of the story of who we are and who we might become. Your inspiration has brought you here to Augsburg, your motivation has kept you here, and your perseverance is what has sustained you through the challenges you have faced in large and small ways. These three attributes have led us to this transition point where the next chapter in our story is still being written. So let's start with inspiration. What inspires you? What gives you meaning? When I was a little girl, when I was asked what I wanted to do for a living, I would tell anyone who would listen that when I grew up, I was going to clean up the world from end to end. I was inspired to make the world a cleaner, better place. And by the way, just a reminder, the recycle bins are located outside the door, down the hall, and to the left. I'm still doing my part. I'm inspired by new people and new ideas that have been part of my Augsburg experience. That desire to make the world a better place has not gone away, but it has taken on a new structure. We all need inspiration in order to imagine a future for us and our communities, and that is part of what Augsburg has given me, inspiration. But inspiration alone is not enough. Motivation is needed to thrive in our complex world. For example, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, on average, we will have 7 to 10 full-time jobs in our lifetime. 7 to 10 full-time jobs. Oh, well, I guess that means I'm already halfway there. That figure, combined with what has been described as a challenging economic environment, has the potential to create anxiety and paralyze us. But being a student at Augsburg has taught us about much more than the required classes we need to fulfill our degree requirements or the skills necessary to pursue a particular career. We have learned from our professors, and importantly, from each other how to be leaders and how to motivate one another. Sometimes motivation comes from within, but we all need support and encouragement from others. Our communities, family, and friends will continue to serve as a source of external motivation for us. And finally, along with inspiration and motivation, you need perseverance. Like many of you, my story is one of persistence in the face of a series of obstacles, both large and small. Some of the obstacles we create ourselves by placing mental limits on our capacities for success. Other stumbling blocks are external, be it a layoff, a family change, or simply a very challenging course. These can all be hindrances, and we can't always predict which ones will grow and become insurmountable. It is hard work to navigate our way through, and we are not guaranteed that we will arrive at our desired destination. As President Obama has said, making your mark on the world is hard. If it were easy, everybody would do it. But it's not. It takes patience, it takes commitment, and it comes with plenty of failure along the way. The real test is not whether you avoid this failure, because you won't. It's whether you let it harden or shame you into inaction, or whether you learn from it, or whether you choose to persevere. Failure is part of the package, but don't let that deter you. Often our greatest lessons and moments of clarity come from times of trial. I have been talking about inspiration, motivation, and perseverance and how those qualities have kept us on the path to our degrees. But what I have learned along the way is that relying on those qualities is a form of leadership. I believe that leaders are always telling a compelling story in both words and actions. They tell the story of who we are and what we value. Here's the exciting part about seeing leadership in this way. We all have a story to tell, so we all have the capacity to lead. Whether we are professors, students, or neighbors, we are storytellers, and each one of those stories is unique. Though we have differences, I'm continually impressed by the camaraderie I've witnessed here on campus. We students are a wonderful mix of ages, religions, nationalities, and experience. What a beautiful narrative we tell about this place and about this community. Our individual stories are part of a larger narrative, needing each other to be complete. In our busy lives, isn't that what we are all striving for? To learn, to trust, and most importantly, to grow with one another? To tell the story of who we have been, who we are, and who we will be, and to listen to the stories of others. We delight in our differences, and we celebrate our diversity. To me, that is responsible leadership. I'm thankful for the many lessons I have learned here at Augsburg, not only academically, but personally. Being a student has helped me gain the knowledge, the self-respect, and all of the self-assurance I will ever need to realize that I can achieve anything and I can lead simply by being who I am. Mohandas K. Gandhi, a political and ideological leader whom I admire, once stated, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world." So to my fellow graduates, I hope you look to this experience we have shared together at Augsburg College as a source of inspiration, motivation, and perseverance. Be prepared to lead. Be ready to tell the story of who you are and who you will be. And be ready to be surprised and challenged by your next chapter. Thank you.
Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty at Augsburg College, upon whose recommendation these degrees are granted, and in their name, it is my privilege to present the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Nursing Practice. Candidates of this inaugural class will be hooded by Dr. Lori Peterson. Michael Good, class of 1961, and Chair of the Board of Regents, will assist President Pribenow. We request that you hold your applause so that all names can be heard. Catherine Ann Baumgartner. Joyce Pearl Miller. Deb K. Schumacher. Jean Marie Gunderson. Mary Ann Bridget Kinney. Kaya Ray Freibor Sivongse. Susan Rain Luchin. Kristen Mary McHale.
By virtue of the authority entrusted to me by the faculty and Board of Regents of Augsburg College, and upon nomination by the faculty, I confer upon you who have completed the requirements the degree of Doctor of Nursing Practice with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. And I welcome you to the proud company of Augsburg graduates, challenging each of you to pursue your professional work with a sense of calling and faithfulness and a passion for justice, fairness, and civility. We're very proud of you. Congratulations.
Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty at Augsburg College, upon whose recommendations these degrees are granted, and in their name, it is my privilege to present the candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts in Education, Master of Arts in Leadership, Master of Arts in Nursing, Master of Business Administration, and Master of Social Work. Candidates, you will come forward as directed by the marshals. I will announce the names of the members of the class as they come to the platform. We will begin with the candidates of the Master of Arts in Education. Alyssa Marie Blood. Emily Catherine Crook. Ade Farati Alabi. Jeremy Lee Jones. Melissa May Gilbertson. Richard Everett Webb. Ross Allen Brower. The Master of Arts in Leadership. Shannon Leah Lanasa, excuse me. Crystal Nicole Lewis. Jennifer M. Rattay. Jennifer Christine Rappi. Christine Marie Ziliaks. Judy L. Chucker. Mongpa Lee. Scott Andrew Brink. Emerald Bailey Tribuno. Kelsey McLean. Sarah Tyler. Emily Helber. Allison J. Hicks. Deborah DeRosa. Carrie Marie Carroll. Deborah M. Spots. Terrence Lee Burns. Tawny Michelle Reller. Christy L. LeDuc. Susan Marie Phillips. The Master of Arts in Nursing. Lori Ann Versagis. Jane Elizabeth Johnson. Ho-Ching Wu. Mary Margaret Healy. Carissa Karen Fox. Jody Schlafer. Carrie Johnson. Darcy Leah Thies. Lonnie Langanke Holenbeck. Diane Deborah Gilderhus. Lisa D. Bungham. Anne Louise Drager. Anne Marie Egan. The Master of Social Work. Nancy A. Ninteman. Melissa Ann Rocco Paris. Lynn Renee Carlson. Laura B. Jean. Laura and Sand Prink. Laura Jane Diedrichson. Joseph John Weiss. Simone Danea Lott. Nissa Ray Roberts. Jamie L. Weenus. Emily Kristen Holmes Samsel. Corliss Iris Zowatowski. Angela Joy Watson. Roxanne Ryn Johnson. Deborah Ann Studelberg. Kimberly Marie Clemenson. Tiffany Jo Johnson. Brittany Marie Lochner. Carrie Ann Krager. Thank you. Lisa Marie Barron. Jade Artis Lixon. Kristen Kelly Mick. Emma Lou Akers. Whoops. William Andrew Schwartz. Mainia Mua. Heidi Marie Holmes. Stephanie Janet Jaquette. Stacy Marie Rutt. Megan Martha Fleming Wolf. Sarah Shaletti. Heather Irene Weismiller. Ashley Jean Morkrid. Christina Ann DiNardo. Lane Cora Kavanaugh Vega. Crystal Ann Chase. Jessica Lynn Westby. Sunny Lee Brish. Molly Hayenmi Lilly. Christopher Ray Walashin. Rebecca Ann McNatten. Danielle Amber Williams. Michelle Lynn Traxel. Krista K. DeSmet. Samantha Jean Wursel. Keisha Ann Marson. Jennifer Lee Briest. Lene Jeanette Sebelinsky. Marcella Ann Godfrey. Christine Louise Wood. Sarita Marie Waxsmith. Veronica Gloria Anderson. Sarah Jane Anderson. The Master of Arts in Business Administration, Jennifer Jolynn Colden. Maria Summer Suzanne Wacker. Jennifer Lynn Umberger. Jeremy Carl Masakovic. Michael Stewart Dockin. Lucas Andrew Hins. Jennifer Christine Worth. John Paul Gleasoner. Clint E. Rashert. Eric Christopher Grady. Brent Edward Widman. Lily Mayo Whitevoda. Eileen Seonoe. Derek John Boldrin. Chad Joseph Pike. Kyle William Larson. Christopher Michael Grebin. Peggy Ann Elliott. Chad A. Cranebell. Sonia Lee Ziegler. Anne Marie Rebidus. Cynthia Lynn Reed. Thomas Harvey Craigle. Brian L. Moran. Jennifer L. Doso. Nicole C. Lenton Miller. Colleen Lane. Tammy K. Descends. Patrick J. Inman. Thomas Richard Meyer. Bruce Charles Bonnickson. David James Coffey. John Wayne Truax. Thomas Richard Stowell. J. Allen Eisenman. Kelsey Elizabeth Duncombe. Travis Lee Paulson. Kirsten A. Hegna. Matthew Anthony Stupnick. Kyle Lee Anderson. Angela Marie Hokinson. Mark A. Hall. Matthew Mark Hooper. Kelly Irene Maderi. Nicholas Michael Trombley. Susan Olson Spofford. Sean Patrick Scollin. Tracy Henn. Cheryl Renner Zion. Jennifer Louise Omi. Tiffany Ellen Anderson. Heather Vera Loring. Adam Rhodes Ager. Okay. Dylan Boyd Abrams. Paul Bertucci. Mohammed Coney. David Matthew Rickers. Greta Bryn Rickers. Jesse Windmiller. Allison Faye Johnson. Bradley John Currier. Barbara Lene Gurney. Jared Robert Reed. Leah Renee Kindem. Anne Marie Deitmeyer. Lynn Annette Harris. Troy Michaels Willis. Thomas Wayne Harlan. Darren Thomas Challoner. Cyrus Moon Bathaje. Alfred A. Dreers. Audra Jensen. Famata Lamrana Bari. Kirsten Lee Westberg. Marie Elizabeth Hansen. Congratulations to our graduate students. And now, Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of Augsburg College, on whose recommendation these degrees are granted and in their name, it is my privilege to present the candidate for their degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. After reading the names of the candidates for the baccalaureate degrees, two types of honors may be announced. The first is Latin honors. These honors are based on cumulative grade point average. Additionally, in order to graduate summa cum laude, students must successfully complete an in-depth oral examination. Candidates for Latin honors wear cords on their shoulders in the school colors maroon and gray. The second type of honors that might be announced is for students who have completed special curricular requirements with a high average in their discipline area of study. Those will be noted as having received departmental honors. Cynthia Marie Castro. Jana Marie Sackmeister. Timka Fatima Boston. Kelly K. Schneider. Tai Ku Sanavon. Maxine I. Schenke. Peter H. Harvey. Roxanne Marie Brennan, summa cum laude. Elizabeth Stanek, summa cum laude. Stephanie Jean Gergen, summa cum laude. Lisa Marie Patterson, summa cum laude. Nina Kathleen Healy, summa cum laude. Jennifer Christine Reed, summa cum laude. Timothy John Matchett. Say it. Karen Jean Ryan. Jamie Ann Iverson. Rachel Lynn Tonak, magna cum laude. Cheyenne Dawn Sveen. Ellen Marie Grabeau. Kim Marie Stevemer, cum laude. Christy Marie Stein. Roberta Jean Knably. Ernest Wayne Walling. Wendy Marie Dahlman, magna cum laude. Shelley Lynn Schlumka. William M. Olson. Rachel M. Olson. Patricia Lynn Vosberg, magna cum laude. Jolene Elaine Stamer, cum laude. Robert William Dose, summa cum laude. Brennan Jokella Hall. Candace K. Dalton. Joel J. Aronson. Wycliffe Omuku Mokaya. Tina K. Holmquist, cum laude. Carrie Louise Ardoff. Gregory John Kugler, summa cum laude. Curtis George Tokash, summa cum laude. Melissa Ann Munson. Teresa Ann Corrigan. Tracy Jo Pagullo, magna cum laude. Jennifer Ann Shutt, cum laude. Mark Landry Gaillet. Nathan Mark Pesh, magna cum laude. Valerie Jane Cook, magna cum laude. Nicole Lee Compton. Renata Rosati Bariotto. Benjamin J. Ostrander. Patrick Jeffrey Siegel. John Theodore Nelson. Stephen Wen. Amanda Marie Griffin Hagen, cum laude. Elizabeth A. Wurtzberger. Kirsten U. Hakes. Dale Edward Moss, magna cum laude. Anthony Charles Yimfewa James. Christopher John Solhog. Jacqueline C. Auld, cum laude. Lindsay A. Storm. Dathan Biberstein. Adrienne Elizabeth Buck. Shannon Marie Jones, cum laude. Justin Olaf Mathry. Jacob G. Heron, magna cum laude. Carlise Marie Clark. Joseph Sichi McLaughlin. Connie Sue Besmoen. Christine Margaret Rodriguez, magna cum laude. Elizabeth Ann Anderson, magna cum laude. Elizabeth Ann Dwyer, magna cum laude. Ronald L. Gentilla. Peter B. Dansky, cum laude. Cindy K. Houle, summa cum laude. Lene Michelle Micah, cum laude. Angela Marie Garbett, cum laude. Rebecca Christine Amlaw. Bradley John Hoggett, magna cum laude. Matthew Patrick Muyers, cum laude. Thomas M. Klein, cum laude. Sarah Ann Heim. Don Robert Stenberg. Connie Lynn DeMarsh, cum laude. Christina L. Frigstad, cum laude. Dennis L. Sargent. Crystal Marie Madison. Jennifer Ann Wiggers Weber. Eric R. Swanson. Kristen Claire Miller. Patrick Michael McCabe. Callie Ann Murray. Crystal May Mogan. Stephanie Annette Oliver. Kitty Mukta Tesso, excuse me. Maichua Yang, cum laude. Erica Suzanne Cry. Janine Marie LaGreca. Joseph John Durbin, summa cum laude, Departmental Honors in Art Studio. Julie Marie Struck, magna cum laude. Christina Ann Shidla. Kaya Christine Matheson. Vanessa Ray Gertz. Emily Ann Ostrom. Benjamin DeLoss Osborne. Miranda Dawn Roman. Nancy Louise Gohl, summa cum laude. Greta Ann Sawyer, cum laude. Carrie L. Carlson. Karsten David Hageland. Allison Jean Malloy. Mark John Schermacher, summa cum laude. Shelley Lynn Hine. Lori Marie Steinke, cum laude. May Lee. Brittany Ann Ostwald. Brittany Raquel McNeil. Alexander Joseph Beebe, magna cum laude, Departmental Honors in Religion. Catherine Suzanne Miller. Daniel Bruce Palmer. Andrew Christopher Palmer, cum laude. Deborah K. Bartlett, summa cum laude. Dawn M. Stevens, magna cum laude. Nels Robert Kylo. Joanne Mary Kopalki, cum laude. Mary Patricia Hoffman, cum laude. Susan Leslie Mukanza, cum laude. Lacey Starr Peters. Cynthia Merida, magna cum laude. Leah Jean Phillips. Jessica Lynn Stockwell. Mark William Wentz, magna cum laude. Adil Kabir. Eric James Sandoz. Jeffrey John Vandenkamp. Carrie Richard Olenichek. Marisha Juanita Linder.
Congratulations.
Will the candidates for master's and bachelor's degrees please stand? By virtue of the authority entrusted in me by the faculty and Board of Regents of Augsburg College, and upon nomination by the faculty, I confer upon you who have completed the requirements the degree of Master of Arts in Leadership, Master of Arts in Nursing, Master of Business Administration, Master of Social Work, Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science, with all of the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. And I welcome you to the proud company of Augsburg graduates, men and women throughout the world who live out the deep links between education, faith, and service to the neighbor. Congratulations.
And now, graduates, it's your turn to salute the faculty and staff, your teachers, mentors, your families, and friends who've supported your work and accomplishments. Please join me in welcoming Mike Good, Augsburg class of 1971, and chairman of the Augsburg Board of Regents, who will greet you as the newest Augie alumni.
Congratulations. I do have a great privilege to welcome you as alums of Augsburg College. You now enter the ranks of over 25,000 of us, and obviously growing every year as the classes seem to get bigger. It's actually been 40 years this month since I graduated from Augsburg College. And I have been impacted in my life, as I know you have, by the tremendous inspiration, support from the teachers, the faculty, the coaches, the mentors that you've had. And I can tell you that my life has been richly blessed as a result of being part of the Augsburg family. I've been privileged to serve on the Board of Regents over the last 10 years. I begin my 4th year this coming year as the chair of the board. And I want you to know that I feel the kind of spirit at Augsburg College that was here when I was here 40 years ago. And I'm still inspired by the faculty, the staff, and administration of this college. We want you to stay involved. Keep in touch. We need your inspiration with the great work that you'll do in serving your neighbor throughout the world. Again, congratulations and Godspeed.
And now, as the commencement exercises come to a close, I offer this charge to our graduates, the Augsburg College class of 2011. May you always be good learners, sharing your education and intellectual curiosity with a world that so needs your insight and understanding, your commitment to lifelong learning, and your willingness to take risks in service to the human estate. May you always be good citizens, individuals who join together with fellow travelers on the road of democracy to create a more just and humane world, and who follow in the footsteps of our thousands of graduates of this college dedicated to making a difference in the world. And above all, may you always be good and faithful people, people who recognize that the many gifts you have been given, gifts of education and friendship and opportunity, demand of you the role of good steward in the world, taking good care of all that has been entrusted to us. Congratulations, keep in touch and keep the faith. We're all immensely proud of you and will watch with great anticipation as you commence your lives in the world as graduates of Augsburg College. May God keep you. Thank you.
From the day we arrive on the planet and blinking step into the sun, there is more to see than can ever be seen, more to do that can never be done. Some say eat or be eaten, some say live and let live. All are agreed as they join the stampede. You should never take more than you give. In the circle of life, it's the wheel of fortune. It's the path of faith. It's the leap of hope. Till we find our place on the path unwinding.
A very special thank you to Director Dr. Robert Stack and the Jazz Ensemble for your terrific performances. Thank you so much. Academic departments and programs will host receptions following the ceremony at various locations on campus. Please consult page 17 of your commencement program for these locations, which are listed for each department and program. A campus map is included in the program to assist you in locating the venue for your students' reception, and members of the college community will be available to assist you. Now, please stand as you're able for the benediction. The recessional will follow. We ask that you remain in your seats until the end of the recession. Pastor Dave.
Please receive the benediction now. Like a rock, God is under our feet. Like a roof, God is over our heads. Like the horizon, God is beyond us. Like water in a pitcher, God is within us and in the pouring out of us. Like a pebble in the sea, we are in God. Let us now go and clean our world and change our world with beauty, grace, humor, and care, as God has changed our lives in Christ. Amen.